Alright guys, welcome to Birthday Boys. My name is Cody Mack. We are here with Eric Biggs and JP, the world-renowned producer. We are here and we have found something out that is quite interesting, to say the least. Me and Eric actually have the same exact birthday.
Yeah.
And I think it was very weird because the podcast was already named Birthday Boys before we even discovered that.
Yeah, we were sitting at the bar the other night. All of us, went out to the bar, we're drinking and stuff, and I don't even really know how it came up. But
Talk about LeBron having our birthday as well.
Yeah, so you just, LeBron, and then you said that, and I was like, wait, when is your birthday? And you're like, oh, December 30th. And I was like, oh, shit, we got the same birthday, you're 94, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just 4 years apart. You're 94, I'm 98. And now we're just going to make up that JP's birthday was the same.
But he is old. So
yeah,
he was before
December 30th, 1930.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Around the Great Depression era. So we are, but with that is truly one of the weirdest coincidences.
Oh yeah.
I think that we've discovered so far.
Yeah.
And what's so crazy is Birthday Boys was named before we even
Yeah.
figured this out.
Yeah. JP hit us up. It was like, I have a name, I have everything. I just need talent, I guess is what he wanted to try to call us. We tricked him. So, so that was so weird because, I was always like, oh yeah, it's a cool name. Mm-hmm. I just was like, oh yeah, that's kind of like a cool different name. I've never, and then the fact that it turns out we have the same birthday, I guess we're just meant to be lovers.
I have thought that since we found out. I was like, we are soulmate podcasters.
Yes.
And so JP's
our dad because
JP is our dad.
He founded it.
He did, yes.
He founded it and created us, procreated us, if you like to.
Because we're professionals.
Yeah, because now we're professional.
Yeah,
We've decided.
Yes. So, I think that this has all been a very, very fun thing that we've been able to discover as we've been doing this. Birthdays. We're gonna talk about birth. You've been a comedian since your birth?
I've always been the family disappointment. So that's basically the same as being a comedian, always been the one that makes everyone go, dang, if only you were the other one, But, I think that kind of the thing of being every comedian be like, oh, you were probably the funny kid. It's like, I think I was really a douche most of my life, long before I was ever really that funny about it.
Okay.
I thought I was funny, but I was really just being an asshole in public. Like that weird thing where it's like, oh, I'm just actually a terrible person looking back. But there was always something that I was always kind of drawn to the idea of doing comedy, and I remember whenever I was little. America's Got Talent came to St. Louis, which was the closest city, big city, around my area. And I thought, I was like, oh, it'd be so cool to go on America's Got Talent. And I was like, well, I have no talent. So naturally, the second best thing, I was like, oh, well, I could tell jokes. But I was in middle school. I had never done anything like it. So of course I didn't do it. Thank God. Because I could not imagine looking back on a tape of me at 12 trying to say whatever my dumbass 12-year-old brain would have thought was funny. You think your starting tapes, whenever you started comedy, are cringy? That would have been so much worse, I guarantee it. But I always found it interesting. I just never thought that it would be a thing that was capable for myself. And then, of course, I got into Rogan whenever I was in college. I think we talked about that the other day. But I got into Rogan whenever I got into college. And I figured out, kind of the way and the path of doing it. And I was like, oh, okay. So you kind of helped lead me down the okay, well, I got to go find an open mic. Well, where's an open mic? And find the open mic and meet the people and start running shows, and then, move to Austin, Texas. And, I never could have imagined, if you would have told a young me, oh yeah, what you're going to do when in your mid-20s is run around set to set, being a fat piece of shit trying to make people laugh.
Yeah.
I would have been like, you're a liar. I will still be skinny. And I was wrong, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I discovered beer before I discovered I had any talent.
I mean, I get that, because, like, if you would have told younger me that I'd be doing stand-up, I would have been like, wait, so I didn't become a Fast and Furious driver? I wasn't a street racer? Or a WWE star?
Yeah.
Wait, what? But, nah, dude, it's, I think comedy is something that everybody should try. I think everybody needs that humbling.
Yeah.
Because it'll make you not feel funny. Especially at the very beginning, you will feel like you are just not funny. And any person who has ever said, I think I'm funny, need to attempt stand-up. Because you will find out very quickly that there's levels to this shit.
Oh, yeah. And everyone who's ever came up to a comedian or even an open micer and said, I'm funny, you should go do an open mic and realize that this shit is different. Like,
it's very different, and it's tough. A lot of people I hear now, they're like, oh, it's so admirable that you're able to get in front of people and try to make them laugh. Not really. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna let you know, you could do it too.
Yeah.
You're just not gonna be fun. Like, it's not gonna be a fun experience.
Oh, your first year is going to be a constant system of this sucks, this sucks, this sucks. I had a really good night. I'm gonna be a hero. This sucks. This sucks. Like, that's just how it starts. And like, anybody who does legitimately start and is awesome from the get-go, I guess you had way worse childhoods, but I mean, whatever's broken inside of you is extra good, I guess.
So what broke in you? What was it in you that was like, I need people's attention?
Yeah, so I don't know. I think so. I was a younger child growing up, so there was just me and my brother, and I think that I always kind of like he was like a lot smarter, like always really good at school, stuff like that, and I was always more of the like, we'll figure out something else to do.
Yeah.
Like, my main plan growing up is like, if nothing else works, I'll join the army. And like, maybe I'll die in combat, and that'll make my parents proud, you know, like.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm not going to be a doctor. So maybe if they, like, get a flag, they'll be like, nice. You know? But, so I think that was kind of always, like, my kind of the thing. I didn't really know what to do. I think I've stumbled into everything I've ever done.
Okay. Yeah, I feel that.
But I think comedy is the only thing I've ever done that I can feel was really a me thing. It's like, my brother passed away whenever I was young.
Okay.
A car accident, young, you know, how half of all young people die.
Was there a drunk driver involved?
Yeah, of course.
Was it prom night?
Unfortunately, there was no pussy involved. Isn't that upsetting?
That's the most upsetting part of it.
Yeah, it's like, no pussy was involved. That's the
heartbreaking part of it all.
That's what's gonna make us cry, you know. But no, I think that like from that happening, because I was 14, whenever it happened, I figured out really quick like, I didn't like the whole situation where, because, you know, being from a small town like we both are, that kind of stuff happens and everyone knows your business, like, intimately.
Like, and they know it fast.
Yeah, like, I'm pretty sure there were people that knew hours and hours before I knew that it happened. Because it happened, like, in the middle of the night. So, you know, there was, like, a lot of people that by the time I woke up and, like, my parents told me about it and stuff, like, half the town already knew.
Yeah.
Because, like, my brother's on the fire department and stuff. So, of course, all the emergency people and all that, they go to those kind of things. Well, and then they knew, so they told friends and told. So, there was no, like, getting away from it. It was one of those things like, okay, everyone knows, and then everyone sees you and, like, instantly wants to, like, coddle you. It pissed me off. I fucking hated it. Like, every time somebody would walk up to me and go, I wanted to kill him. You know?
Like your brother.
Yeah, dead. So, but it was one of those things that was like, I couldn't stand that.
Yeah.
So I figured out really quick, like, the faster somebody would come up to me and I'd, like, make a joke or, like, make another comment or, like, whatever else to, like, divert, then they would leave it alone. I could, like, go back to, like, being a normal person in the mix. So I think that, like, that's ultimately probably really what drove me into it, was just figuring out like, oh, okay, this is like a nice way to get away from all the shit that happened. And it feels awesome to make people laugh.
Yeah, it does. It's it's something that like I can't explain it to somebody who's never done it.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you do it and you go have a great set, it's a drug that like I can only imagine heroin feels like.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, because I'm willing to go out there and bomb for the chance.
Yeah, for the chance of one person
being like, that's funny.
Yeah, coming up to you afterwards and being like, you were hilarious. And then it's like, yeah, that's why I have women with blue hair call me a cunt every night. Like, that's why we risk it all.
Exactly.
You know?
So like, I can only imagine like somebody who has no idea, and like I can't explain it to them because like it's just one of those weird like rushes where like if I go and I have a great night, I'm not gonna sleep tonight.
Yeah.
Like I'm up all night because like I'm gonna rerun it a million times in my head. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna overthink about it, and I'm gonna like, well, maybe I could have told this joke and put this here, and like. But when you have those bad nights, you just sit alone in the shower.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. Just, I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
Yeah. You get home and you're like, I'm drinking whiskey for me.
You ever just had a set that's so bad you start blaming your parents? Like, why the fuck did you make me alive?
Dude, I have had sets so bad, especially like whenever I was first starting out. Like I would come home and I would just like, I'd be like, I'm never doing it again. And unfortunately for all audience members in Austin, I'm still in. But I've had sets where like you come home and you're just like, there's nothing even funny about me.
Yeah.
You know, like, but I think that I kind of had a weird opportunity is my first job. So I went to a tech school.
Okay.
To be a semi-truck mechanic.
Okay.
So, because once again, I had no idea what I was going to do with my life.
That's a very Missouri thing, I feel.
Oh, it's very Missouri. Essentially, I went and I decided, I was like, I don't really know if I want to join the military. Like, that doesn't really, it like didn't sound like a good idea ultimately. And from all of my friends that have joined, it's like, I made the right choice.
Oh, I agree 100%. I think that I have a bunch of friends who went to the military, like right out of high school and shit. And all of them tell me their stories, and I'm just like, yeah, I'd rather struggle.
Yeah.
I'd rather struggle.
Yeah. It's like, like, glad people are doing it. Love it, but I'm so glad it was not the path I decided to go down.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I was like, I'm not going to do that. And then I was like, well, shit, what do I do? So I had no idea what to do with my life. And one of my best friends was like, hey, I'm going to this tech school. He got into like a really high level equipment program for like working on like bulldozers and stuff like that. And me and one of my other buddies were like, oh, well, why don't we just do that? He's doing it. We'll all go to college together. We'll party and get drunk for 2 years. And I tried to apply for one thing, and they were like, that's full. Why don't you go work on semi-trucks? And I was like, good enough, whatever. Like, I literally just kind of fumbled into it.
Yeah.
And then from there, a dude that was actually good friends with my brother growing up, we had to have internships in between the first and the second year. It was like, you got to spend your summer working at a shop. And that dude owned a trucking company. And I hit him up, and I was like, hey, man, I know you, like, own some trucks. Who works on your trucks? Blah, 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 whatever. And he's like, I do. You want a job? And I was like, well, I want an internship. Can I work for you for the summer? And he was like, sure, fucking, why not? So I, started working for him, and I was his first employee. Like, now I wasn't his first truck, like, driver employee. I was his first, like, mechanic he ever hired. And so it was a super small company. The first, like, couple of years, there was, like, 4 of us in the shop. And it was me, a dude who was, like, in his mid-40s, and a guy that we always said was 150 years old.
JP?
It was JP. It was actually, but so it was like this, like kind of cool, like small group of environment, and everyone busting balls all day long.
Okay. Yeah.
So
sounds like a really fun environment to be.
Yeah, and it was a great environment. The work sucks. Like being a mechanic eats a bag of dicks every single day because you're like, I'm gonna have a good day, and then like a bolt breaks. and you're like, oh no, now my day is dog shit. Like, and you're just dirty and greasy and gross every day. Like, the work itself is terrible. However, I got super lucky because the shop I went to was a really cool group of guys. So we were always fucking around and joking with each other, and like I was always messing with everybody and stuff. And I think that it kind of, because I'd already like kind of started thinking about doing comedy, but I hadn't done it yet. And I was like, okay, like I kind of have this like good riff thing. And I think that's kind of like what helped me go and kind of propel into it. And then since the owner was a friend, whenever I was like, oh, hey, I also like want to tell dick jokes, he was never like, fuck off, you're gonna like, you know, be a bad reputation or what, you know, like you hear about so many comics getting fired from jobs because a clip comes out and it's like, you don't represent our value. Like, he was cool and he was always just like, yeah, that's your thing. Like, what you do on your time is your business. Like, you show up to work every day, we're cool. Like,
so you got uncancelable at your job.
Yeah, it was,
I like that.
It was one of
That's
those things.
good.
Like, yeah, like there wasn't ever really any repercussions. It was just like, hey man, yeah, you can go do that thing. Just show up for work, keep working. You know, so I was able to kind of like really feel like, oh yeah, I can go and really kind of chase this thing, but still have this job, and the job just eats, man. Like, every day the job sucks. Like, I never understood dudes that got off work and are like, I'm drinking all the beer. Not a few, I'm drinking all the beer I find. I understood it. Like, you know, you would get off work and you're like, the only thing that can make this an okay day so I can go back is I get obliterated tonight. And then you wake up and you're like, I feel terrible. So you just feel like shit all the time. But then I started doing comedy and you'd have those good nights and you'd be like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
So like the contrast where it's like, I'm not making any money doing this, but this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Versus like, I'm making money doing this and this sucks.
I feel the exact same way with being a server.
Yeah.
Because I have to deal with people, and people are needy as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's hands down, like I wouldn't wish a server on anybody. The only problem, I can't go to having a regular normal job.
Yeah.
Because I am addicted to the fact that I walked out with money every night. I don't have to wait for payday. And actually, I don't even get money on payday because of taxes.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm addicted to that part, and I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate having a job because me and you both have been able to experience what comedy is like.
Yeah.
And it's like, we've only experienced a glimpse of it at this point. Like, once we were able to make it and we're like, this is our life, it's literally things I dream about.
Yeah.
So, like, I understand completely, dog, about the fact, like, having a normal job sucks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and the vast difference of, like, you can go and, like, you'll get a paid gig where it's like, you're going to make $20.
Ooh, big money.
10 minutes of work. And you think of that, like, normal work hours, and you're like, I'm making $150 an hour. It's like, well, you're not really, because you can't do that for 8 hours. Like, you're just doing these little spots. But, like, I remember one of the first times I got paid doing comedy, and I was just like, oh my God, you know, like, this is the coolest thing ever. Like,
see, I was telling one of my managers at Roadhouse about, like, how this works. Like, she was like, so do you, like, clock in? Like, how do they do that?
Yeah.
I was like, no, they give you a set amount of time, and you do your set amount of time, and then after, you get a check.
Yeah.
And it's one of the only jobs you'll ever get paid by the minute.
Yeah.
You do 10 minutes, you make $20. Well, I just made $2 a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a lot of money, but there's not a lot of jobs where you make a couple of dollars a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't match that for the majority of everyone's job. And it's so crazy. But then at the same time, you're like, oh, yeah, I can't do this 40 hours a week because that's not how it works. Like,
exactly.
You have to be to the point where it's like, oh, I'm doing enough big gigs where you work a couple hours here and there, and it adds up to big money. But it's such a weird experience. Like, I remember the first time I told my dad, like, I started running my own, like, traveling shows back home because I, like, wasn't getting on at a couple of the, like, big mics around Missouri. So I was like, screw it, I'm gonna start my own mic. You know, we're gonna I'll take the guys I think are funny. We'll go around, and I started like doing my own mics. And I remember coming home, and I told my dad, I was like, I worked for, like 2 hours tonight, setting up, tearing down, putting show lists together, all my sets, and like I made this amount of money. And he goes, what? And I was like, yeah, I worked for 2 hours. I made like $250. And he's like, oh my God. So like then he started doing the thing, but he's like, well, you made this much money. It's like, yeah, but you can't do it like that.
Yeah.
You just have to go, but of course I was only making more money because I was running shows.
Yeah.
And then having to like pay out comics and stuff like that. But it was like, this is so cool that like, it's like an addiction.
It is.
That you're like, oh my God, whose dick do I gotta suck to make more? You know?
But can you imagine like the big name people? They only do an hour, but they get paid $100,000 for an hour of work.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, do I have to suck Dave Chappelle's dick just to open for him for 15 minutes?
And that's the unfortunate thing. All the people you could suck their dick and make a career out of, they all got canceled, and now are in prison. So now there's only all these good people left.
Yeah.
That's upsetting.
I mean, Joe, just like 5 minutes. 5 minutes at the mothership. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. Like we'll do a rub tug together.
Ooh, that's a tag team. That is a duo.
Tag team a gorilla.
But yeah, man, doing comedy has been something since I started. I'm just like, I'm fucking obsessed with this.
Yeah.
Like this has become the only thing I think about.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't imagine doing anything else, honestly, since I've started doing this. Yeah. Like I did video game streaming at one point in time, and no.
Yeah, talk about a thing that you get no pussy from.
You get nothing from it.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. There's no pussy in the comedy game. There's really no pussy in that game.
It is terrible. I hate it. I loved it at the time.
Yeah.
But dude, it was so much work for no pay.
Yeah.
Now, like it's a lot of work, but the upside of it is like, granted, we're not making money right now.
Yeah.
But the potential, man. If I get like just one bigger name than me to see, and it's like I impressed them, okay, now I'm opening for them.
Yeah.
So like there's, and especially here in Austin, like I love it. Like I love it here.
The amount of huge people that are here in Austin.
Yeah, the opportunity.
Yeah, like you get people coming through that are national headliners.
Yeah.
Like there are real heads of the world in comedy that come in and out of this town all the time.
All the time.
So and the cool thing is about comedy is it's so much fun to do, and then you also can get paid for it.
Yeah.
So like not only is it like this is the best thing ever, then you also can make money doing it on top of the fact that it's a great time.
It's such a fun time. And then like if somebody bombs, like you get to rag on them.
Yeah.
And it's like, you suck. But then like you know that you're just busting balls because we've all been there.
Yeah. Anyone who ever is a comedian and says, "Oh, I've never bombed," they've never done a set.
Yeah, you're lying for sure.
Yeah.
Like I've had a set that I was trying to prepare for my first weekend at the Improv. Mm-hmm. And I took it to a bar that was like a regular open mic. Is where we regularly go. I did it there, bombed my ass off.
Oh yeah.
Took the same exact set, didn't change anything. Mm-hmm. Took that same exact set, did it in a comedy club, and it did very well.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, like you're gonna have that. Even like some of your best material, it's still, you might just do a place where it's just like, yo, that sucked.
Yeah, sometimes it just doesn't translate.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Sometimes you hit the wrong crowd. Like we at the mic I used to go to all the time, and I'd help host and stuff like that every once in a while. We had a family come in who had just lost their mother at the hospital down the street, and they decided that coming to a comedy show might cheer them up. It did not.
That just sounds like the worst idea ever.
And like it was an open mic.
Oh,
so like
Jesus.
it wasn't even like one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, we got a stacked like showcase show. It was just an open mic where it was like half the people here like started 3 months ago, and like some of them have been here a long time, are really funny. But yeah, those people got so fucking angry, and they were like, we came here. Like they left. You knew it. As they walked out the door, you knew they were leaving because they were so mad. And it was just one of those things that's like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, this isn't for you.
Yeah.
Like, you weren't coming to see Gaff again. You're coming to see Ashley, the girl that's on Ritalin and in college trying to figure out, how to talk about frat guys. Like, it was such a funny experience because I was like, oh, they heard comedy show and they went, oh, this is all national headliner rich people that do comedy. It's like, we're all like have day jobs and, or bar staff, and I'm a fucking mechanic. Like, you're not getting what you think you're getting. It was so funny. You know what I like?
What's that?
Licking buttholes.
Okay.
You know who doesn't like it?
Who?
YouTube.
Fuck.
So, find us on Patreon. Donate on Patreon so we can keep doing what we do, and you can keep watching us do what we love. Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think the worst time I've had was whenever I was working at the Improv, and we knew this guy. He was opening for somebody, and he was gonna have a show that he was promoting later on in like the next week, and we've seen this guy multiple times. So the guy had no punchlines ever. He's just telling stories, and like one of his big things is like he would just try to catch you off guard with something. So like he'll have like a turn in a story. It was like, so I was fucking her in the ass, and that's like his big thing. I watched this guy get booed off stage, and that was the first show of the night. He had one more to do. This dude was back in the green room crying, and like. I felt so bad for the guy because he also had a headlining show coming up next week at the same club. And like, I can't imagine he's still alive.
Yeah, well, he should have killed himself.
Should have.
But if he didn't, hi guy.
Hi.
I mean, I probably would have, but yeah. So he probably should have killed himself.
Should have.
I mean, even if it was by accident, because like I almost accidentally killed myself one time.
Okay.
It was a group effort. Like the best suicides are. So
drank the Kool-Aid, I guess.
Yeah. It was like I do agree with David Koresh. As a Texan spirit. But no. So I was before I went to tech school. It was like 3 months before I went to college. Me and all my buddies, we used to get together at my dad's shops. Yeah, like had 2 shops where like kept cars and like trailers and stuff like that at. And we'd have like big bonfire parties and, Midwestern shit.
Okay.
Like just your typical nothing else to do. And
fair enough.
So we'd get together and have these big bonfire parties. It was always an issue like starting fires. It was just always a pain because like the wood was either wet or whatever. And so we were looking around, we're like, oh, like lighter fluid, whatever, couldn't find anything. My buddy finds a can of mixed fuel. For anyone who doesn't know what mixed fuel is what you use in 2-stroke engines. It's what we used in our weed eater.
Yeah, weed eaters, that's what I know it as.
Yeah, it's in weed eaters and like some dirt bikes, 4-wheelers and stuff. But it's a mix between oil and gasoline.
Yeah.
And you mix it up, and my buddy found it in the shop, and he's like, oh, well, we'll just use some mixed fuel to light the fire. And I'm like, okay, a little sketchy. Don't like lighting fires with gas, but good enough. So we went and he like poured it, and it was a big like brush pile. We had like done a bunch of like trimming and clearing and stuff. So my buddy like jumps up on it and like on the brush pile, and he's like pouring this mixed fuel all over and stuff. And then he goes and he makes this little bitty trail. And he's like, all right, we'll light that. And I was like, all right. and one of our other friends was there already, and he's like, I don't know if I want to light that. And I was like, well, it's my like dad's shop. I'll light the fire because like if anybody's gonna get hurt, it should be me. Little did I know I was speaking that shit into fucking existence.
Manifestation.
Yeah, dude. So
geez.
like, I went and I took this little stupid pocket lighter down and lit the fire. Next thing I know, I'm inside of a fireball. Jesus. Like, just the second coming has happened all around me. And I go, fuck. And I'm running, and it was, so the way it was set up, it was my dad's shops, and then our one buddy that was there, his parents' house was right next to it. So I go and I like take off running, and I can tell like I'm not on fire anymore or anything like that, but I'm like, I am fucked up. Like I'm hurt. And I had went and done a bunch of like wildlife, like survival stuff a couple months before in the summer, working at this like youth camp. And I was like, well, shit, you get burnt really bad, you have to address it. Like, I didn't realize how bad it was. I went into my buddy's house and got in his downstairs shower, his poor fucking mother. So I get into this downstairs shower, and I turn on the water, and, like, I knew, like, you can't turn on cold water because that's going to fuck you up, throw you into shock. So, like, I turn on, like, warm water, and I get in there, and, like, I start going into shock while I'm in the shower. All the other dudes that were, like, coming out to, like, party with us that night, like, hang out, they all show up, and then they're like, what the fuck's going on? Everyone's like, Eric lit his dumbass on fire. So I, like, get out of the shower, and I, like, grab a towel, and I'm, like, standing there just, like, covering my dick in front of, like, 7 dudes, and I'm just like, I don't know, I gotta work tomorrow. You know, like
I think that's a pretty okay thing to call them sick about. Setting yourself on fire, I think that they would understand.
So it gets worse.
Jesus Christ.
So I'm standing there and like, I'm fucked because it got my neck, my face, my arms, and then my legs from like, I was wearing shorts because it was the middle of summer. So it got my legs and so like I'm fucked up all over the place. So I get out of the shower. And then we start debating, because of course, in the time that I go, I'm on fire, and go get into the shower to try to help myself. None of my friends have called 911. No one.
The best kind of friends.
No one has called 911. No one has called, like, my parents. No one has, like, done anything like this to be like, uh-oh, this is a problem. They're all just like, I don't know, Eric doesn't have any hair on his face or arms or legs anymore, but I guess he's all right.
I mean, I saw him run,
yeah,
guys. He was running.
He was running. He good.
He's straight. He's good.
I get out of the fucking shower. I'm standing there just like trying to cover my dick, and I'm just like hurting still, but like it hasn't fully sunk in yet. And I went and I like put my hand up on the doorway. And I was like, guys, I don't know. Maybe I don't need to go to the hospital. Like, maybe it's not that big of a deal because, like, I don't want to go to the fucking hospital. That's just expensive.
100%.
And one of the guys that had shown up to come hang out with us goes, hey, Eric, look at your arm. And I had a, like, giant skin bubble coming down like this off of my arm from, like, scabbing already.
Yeah.
Like a crazy sunburn.
Yeah.
Was just hanging off my arm. And I go, oh, fuck. Hey, guys, I think I need to go to the hospital. Of course, I'm not really, like, thinking that much. I tell my one buddy, I'm like, hey, let's take your mom's car and just drive me to the hospital. The hospital's an hour away. It's not down the street.
Yeah.
It's not around the bend. It's an hour away. And I'm like, hey, will you drive me to the hospital? Well, that time, like, his dad gets home. His dad comes down, he's like, what the fuck? He sees me, he freaks the fuck out. He's like, we need to call somebody. And my buddy's like, no, I'll just drive him to the hospital. It's fine, whatever. My other 2 buddies that were there at the time, like, my other buddy was wearing shorts, the guy whose house we were at. So, like, his legs were kind of fucked up, too. And then my other buddy just got a little bitty burn on his knee where his jeans had a fucking hole in them. But, so we were like, all right, he's going to drive me to the hospital. And then I, like, go inside. And my mom calls me, and she's like, "Hey, are you guys all right out there?" And I was like, "Hey, Mom, I burnt myself a little bit."
A little bit.
And she's like, "Okay, what do you mean?" Because me and my buddy had went out. We went on like a motorcycle ride. She figured I like burnt my leg on like a pipe, something like that, like something stupid. And I was like, no, there was a fire, and I was lighting the fire, and she goes, "Shut up, I'm on my way over there." And I was like, fuck, this is not going to be good. Because, like, my mom's a nurse. She, like, worked in, like, urgent care. My mom fucking shows up, and, you know, like, now by this time my buddy's mom and dad were there, and they're like, "What the fuck did you idiots do?" Like, they're freaking out, all this and that. My mom shows up, she pulls up, and she goes, "Eric, get in the car." And I go, "That's not good."
Did she use the middle name?
No. Well, I don't know. I was in pretty heavy shock. So
I'm surprised that you remember this much of a story.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Eric, Susan Biggs.
like I feel like after just so much, like your brain just can't.
Oh yeah.
Like,
so
shuts the fuck down.
Yeah.
And like, wow.
Yeah. Oh well, and then I forgot. So in between the time of like after I saw the giant skin bubble, I called my boss because I was like, well, I gotta let my boss know.
Yeah.
That I'm not going to be at work tomorrow, like a good, responsible employee. And I call him, and I'm like, the way the call went to me in my head was, "Hey, man, I lit myself on fire a little bit. I think I'm going to have to go to the hospital and get checked out. I don't know if I'll be at work tomorrow." Hung up. Later on, he told me, he's like, "You called me, and, like, your voice was trembling, and, like, you sounded like you were about to fucking die on the other end of the phone. And you're, I don't know if I'll be able to make it." And he just goes, "You're fine. Go to the hospital." Because, you know, he's on the phone. He's like, "Why is this stupid fucking teenager calling me and not just going to the hospital?" So my mom shows up, and we like get in the car, and we start heading back towards like our house. And I'm like, oh, that's a good sign. I'm like not as fucked up as I thought I was, because Mom's taking me back to the house. She's like, "We got to go get your insurance information so we can have it to take you to the hospital." And I was like, "Oh, okay, like that's all cool." She stops on the way to our house, pulls directly into the ambulance station, throws open the door, and walks inside. And I go, "Oh, this is worse than I thought it was a couple seconds ago." And I'm like, well, my mom went in. I'm barefoot, wearing only shorts, no shirt on because I got out of the shower and I like couldn't put clothes on. I was in pain. So I was like, oh, I guess I need to walk in there as well. So I get out of the car, come walking in there, and I see the face of these two poor EMT guys go fucking white, and they go, "Get in the ambulance right now." And they like rushed me into the ambulance, put me in there. Apparently my mom had like went in and was like, "I have a burn victim for you guys." And they were like, "Oh, okay, whatever, what's going on?" And she's like, no, there's a burn victim in my car. You guys need, and they were kind of like hem hawing, whatever. And then I walked in and they go, "Oh my God, this guy's about to die." Cause like my face was so burnt, they were afraid that I had like inhaled a bunch of like smoke and fumes, and that like the inside of my lungs and throat were gonna be burned. So I get into the ambulance and they start taking me down the road, and they like pick up another guy who was like friends with my mom, and you know he's on the ambulance crew, and he keeps telling me, he's like, "Hey buddy, don't worry, if you stop breathing, I'll make sure you can breathe." And I'm like, that's not reassuring news. Like, that's not what I want to hear. I want to hear, "Hey man, you're going to be all right." So they're just pumping fucking drugs into me. They gave me so many different like cocktails of drugs. Whenever they like told my mom about it at the hospital, like all the drugs I was on, she said, "Oh my God, he's going to overdose and die." Because they just like couldn't deal with like the pain I was in and everything. Because they were just like, "Are you still hurting?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm in immense pain." They brought me in to the hospital under a critical stage 3 burn victim. Whenever they rolled me into the like operation room, because like they like got me out and they're like, "Here's a bunch of doctors." I go in there. There's like 25 fucking doctors and nurses and all this shit in there, and like surround me and like start doing all this shit. And they're trying to move me from like the one bed that you get in the ambulance to like the bed that they put you in to like work on you in. And I go, oh, well, I can help. So I start like picking myself up to crawl over, and they all are like, fucking knock it off for the love of God. Because I'm just like, I'm helpful, you know? Like,
Jesus.
so they knocked me out, of course. I got this like medical wrap down my arms, my legs, all this shit. I was in the hospital like I think overnight, and they like had me like cocktailed up on drugs. I had people come visit me I didn't know ever came and visited me.
Wow.
Because like some of my friends like came up and were like, oh my God, like, are you okay? All this kind of stuff. And apparently all I kept telling everyone is, you know, they say drugs are bad, but these drugs are awesome. And my mom and dad are just sitting over there going, that's our son. Just the whole time, that's our kid over here talking about how drugs are awesome.
The only thing like half-ass relatable I have for that is when I got my wisdom teeth pulled out.
Yeah.
They had me so bad,
Yeah.
like off on it, that I just kept asking my mom, so what drugs are they prescribing me? What are they giving me? Like
Is this Oxy?
what are they giving me? And my mom was like, you should see the recording I have of you. And it's literally me in the dentist chair going, I don't think y'all gave me what strong enough. I need something stronger. And the dentist was like, I don't think you need anything, sir.
I think you're good.
I was just like, give me something stronger.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember a lot after that because of the oxy they gave me.
Oh, yeah.
I was pounding them. So I could not imagine the medicine you got.
Oh,
because
yeah.
that sounds
Yeah.
horrific.
Yeah. Well, and the crazy thing is they told me, you know, because of course, like, as I got better, you have all these follow-up appointments and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, hey, I start college in like 3 weeks. And the burn doctor told me, he's like, buddy, you're not going to college. Like, this is going to take some time. Like, you might need skin grafts and shit. Like, you're not going to college in 3 weeks. And I still was like, fuck you, I'm going to college in 3 weeks. I ain't staying at my parents' house any longer than I have to. And in 2 weeks, I was all, like, they had all the stuff off. I was off the pain pills in a week and a half. Because my girlfriend at the time, she, of course, would, like, come over and, like, hang out with me. And I'd just, like, be on drugs and sleep in the chair all day. And she wanted to, like, take me out one night. It was like, hey, like, let's go get food. Because, like, I was going insane. Because, like, you can't do anything. You're just sitting there, like, I hope my skin heals fast. And, you know, she was like, hey, like, do you want to go out to dinner or whatever? And I told my dad, I was like, hey, like, I'd like to, like, go out and, like, me and her, like, go get dinner and stuff. And he's like, you get off the pain pills. You do whatever the fuck you want. And I was like, and then my mom was like, hey, do you need another pain pill? I was like, no. Throw all those motherfuckers away. I'm done. So I got off that real fast. And then because I was so young and I was, like, in good shape at the time, I healed really fast. And, like, now you can't even really tell, like, my hand, I have, like, my old man hand. It looks like I'm 100 years old trying to, like, touch Peter Griffin's kids. So it's my molester hand. So, but, like, other than that, like, I don't really have any, like, real scarring and shit.
That's good.
And yeah, they gave it, like, the full, they were like, you're on all the drugs, you're on all the stuff. And I met one of the burn doctors that, like, worked on me. Because, like, you have this, like, medical wrap on you. And then in 2 weeks, they have to take it off of you.
Ooh-wee.
And that shit almost hurt as bad as getting burnt. Because then they're just peeling this thing that's, like, become your skin off of your skin. I met that guy 2 years later. He's my grandpa's neighbor. And I was like, oh, hey, you were the doctor that helped me whenever I had my burns. And he's like, you don't look like a burn victim. And I was like, oh, yeah, like, I have my arms, my legs, my face, blah, blah. And he's like, I wouldn't have recognized that you were ever, like, one of our clinic, like, burn victims and stuff. So what I'm saying is I'm a superhero. However, if you get lit on fire, you don't get to shoot flames out of your hands. Because that's the other thing I kept on saying on drugs. I kept on being like, what if I get to shoot flames now? That would be really cool.
Fucking Human Torch.
Yeah, just like, whoa, flame on. But my mom was like, I don't think that's going to happen. I think you're just stupid. So,
Dude, yeah, we never did nothing like that. That sounds like a, oof.
yeah.
I mean, we had parties and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I think the craziest party we ever had was after homecoming. I was at my friend's house, and his mom, we would go to his house every weekend.
Yeah.
And his mom liked to mix pain pills and alcohol, which is a big no-no.
Yeah.
But she loved wine.
Oh.
So she was super out of her mind this night.
Yeah.
And this was a prom, I think senior year. She bought us 3 bottles of champagne.
She was trying to fuck some kids. I want some young dick.
So we had the bright idea. We're going to play champagne pong.
Nice.
So we're in our second game. We just poured the cups up.
Yeah.
I mean, we're probably 3 shots, like just 3 little shots into the game. Nobody made cups or anything. She comes running out of the house, drunk, fit, fucked up, tells us everybody needs to go home, and throws over the table, spilling all of the champagne, and is like, y'all motherfuckers need to clean this up, and then goes back into the house and passes out. We can't explain that. We're just, what the fuck just happened? And yeah, and the fun part about that is that friend is actually the friend that I moved out here to live with.
Nice.
In Austin.
Nice.
And that was his mother, so she comes over frequently.
Yeah.
So we try to ask her, like, hey, do you remember these events happening? Mm-hmm. No recollection. And she is the sweetest person now.
Yeah.
She is, like, I love her. She was my second mom back then.
Yeah.
And now she's, like, even better because we're all grown now.
Yeah, now you're having sex with her. So.
Hey, dreams happen, bro. We can. I believe in manifestation.
I mean, I was able to light myself on fire.
But that's like the craziest accident thing that's ever happened. I don't think we ever set someone on fire at a party.
Yeah. Well,
That's an interesting.
Well, and here's the bad thing: we
Horrific.
were all 100% sober.
What?
There was no alcohol. We weren't even really planning on drinking that night. Legit, we were just gonna hang out.
So you
at
felt
a
every
bonfire.
bit of that.
Oh yeah.
Do you still like think about that? Like that moment of getting engulfed?
Every once in a while, I'll tell you this: if I ever get lit on fire again, I'm killing myself.
You just let it go. Just let it burn you.
No, like I carry a gun now, so like if I started carrying a gun just in case I ever get caught on fire, bang bang, bang 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 bang, done, donezo.
Dude,
that noise.
That sounds bad.
Oh yeah.
So bad. So speaking of getting burned alive, you have a girlfriend. How's that going? Let's talk about your relationship, buddy. No, but curious. So how'd you meet your girlfriend?
The way that all of us in our mid-20s do, through friends. I think the friend's name was Tinder. That's it. Yeah.
That's
The way that
interesting.
all people in their 20s meet
Yeah.
their relationships, they meet on Tinder and then they tell their parents, "Oh yeah, we met through friends." The bad thing is me and the girl, of course, we met on Tinder, all that kind of stuff, and we then told her parents and like how we were like, "Oh yeah, we met through some mutual friends." She has some friends that go to my school, and then I met them at a party, blah, 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 whatever. So it turned out she actually did have an old like elementary school friend that I would party and drink with all the time. However, we didn't really know that, and we never cued him in on the fact that he was the lie package. So her mom went up to him one day at church whenever we first started dating and was like, "Hey, so this Eric guy that Valerie started dating, like, tell me about him." And he goes, "Eric who?" And she just goes, "Oh, okay, and walks away. And then like a couple weeks after that, my girl was down at my apartment with me, and we went out to a big party, and we were drinking with that guy. And she goes, "Oh, I know him. We grew up together. That's the guy I told my parents that we like met through." And I was like, "Oh yeah, like me and him are kind of buddies. We have mutual friends. We drink together and stuff." We started talking to him about it, and he's like, "Oh, oops."
Fucking oops.
Yeah, and I'm like, damn. So it's that nice, like, you know, early 20s where it's like, yeah, we met that way, you know?
Yeah, 100%. That's how the female that I'm talking to now, that's how we met as well, is on Tinder. And boy, is that an interesting way to meet people.
Oh, it's the worst. Like,
it is the worst, man.
I was always a big proponent of, like, not doing the internet dating stuff.
Oh, dude, I've been on it since 2013.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm an expert when it comes to the Tinder game.
Yeah.
I have no shame in my Tinder game.
Yeah, see, like, I got on it after, like, my first big, like, college, first, you know, I got out of high school, went into college, like, that relationship broke up. I was like, well, screw it, I'll get on Tinder and, like, find some hoes. You know?
That's the same with the 2013. That was the same exact way, dog.
And
100%.
You know, because, like, all before then, like, growing up in, like, small areas, you're like, oh, I just know all the girls. I know the ones that I think are hot. I'll just go hit on them in person. Like, I'm not DMing them like a fucking psychopath.
That wasn't really a thing, though. Like,
really?
Like, in my town, like, you didn't just randomly DM people.
Oh, yeah. See, I wouldn't do the DM. I'd just go start talking to them.
That's
like,
it. Like, if I saw them around campus or something, I'd just go talk to them.
Yeah, like, you just go
invite them to a party.
Yeah, like, I want to lick your butthole. So... But, I mean, I was never big onto it, and then I ended up meeting my fiance that way and stuff, and it's like, oh, well, like, that's a whatever. Like, it's worked out this far, you know?
How long have you been together?
4, coming up on 5 years.
How long have you been engaged?
We've been engaged, we got engaged this summer, so, like, I don't know, like 6-ish months, something like that. We were together for a long time. Got her through college, and then I took her out to West Virginia because that's like where her dad's family's from, and I proposed to her out there. And then after she agreed to move to Austin with me, because I told her, I was like, I'm moving to Austin, do a comedy, like, I'm going. And she was like, I'm going with you. And then I was like, damn, I guess I gotta, like, spend a bunch of money on a ring. This is stupid.
See, I was in a very similar situation, but the girl did not come with me.
Yeah, well, and, like, that was so at this last, like, family Christmas or Thanksgiving or something, we were all hanging out talking and stuff, and somebody like brought up like us getting engaged and stuff, and I was like, well, yeah, you know, she agreed to move to Austin with me. I figured I might as well like get engaged and everything. Like, that's clearly gonna be the person I'm gonna be with. And my fiance goes, wait, you wouldn't have proposed to me if I would have said no? And I was like, my cousin, who's the same age as me, he goes, well, yeah, I don't think he's gonna buy a ring for somebody he's not dating. And she did not find it as funny as I did.
Wow.
She was like,
wow.
What? And she's like, well, you said you wouldn't even be engaged to me. I'm like, well, yeah, if you wouldn't have came, we would have broke up. Like,
yeah.
You're not dating me across the country,
that's
bro.
Exactly what happened to me. And it is, well, it is. It's going how it's going, bro.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is. But when you guys have a date or anything?
I should remember this. It's in 2024.
Oh, it's next year.
Yeah, so like we got some time.
You got summer, fall?
It's in the like springish time.
Okay.
Man, if she ever cares enough to watch anything I do, she's gonna be so pissed I forgot this date right now.
You don't have to say it publicly. We don't need everybody that watches to be there. But
that's all, hon. I just didn't want the fans
exactly.
to know.
You're good. You're good.
That's
Just like it's a spring Austin wedding.
Yeah. It's a in a time at a place with a thing. And
so that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I have to say congratulations.
Thank you.
To the engagement, and
Cheers.
I think that's another one that we're gonna put into the books for the day, guys.
Absolutely.
All right.
And for all of our other ridiculous content, and if you like and love what we're doing, make sure you hit us up on Patreon.
Yep.
Donate $1, donate $5. If
Whatever
you're
you
Joe
guys
Rogan,
wanna do.
donate $1 million.
Or donate some time at the Comedy Mothership.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can use that too.
It's all under Birthday Boys too.
Yep, on Patreon.
Cheers to Birthday Boys.
Cheers, birthday boys, guys.